about the start that Fairfield's gotten off to here?
Well, I think first of all, as I've said, I think I said this earlier in the week, as much as I'm not looking forward to playing against them, I think everybody is happy to see Anthony Johnson back in the lineup. I mean, you think about what that kid went through last year. He's a guy that I always voted for all league. I voted for him for the all rookie team, and I thought one of the major impact players in our league. And then we played them last year up there. He was a complete non-factor in the game, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And come to find out he's got 2 blood clots, and he almost died. And here he is averaging 15 and 9, and making a huge difference in a team that's 12 and 4. So I think everybody's happy for him. Hawkins, I think everybody expected that. He was a really good player last year. He was a very good freshman. So to see him averaging 15, nobody knew Needham. And he'll be the rookie of the year in our league, without question. So now you add Olander and Ivanovic and Jordan, and you've got a team that's capable of winning the league. So we know what we're walking into on Saturday.
What are you most impressed with watching Needham on tape, what you've seen of him?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out is he doesn't play like a freshman. I mean, he plays like he's been there for 4 years already. I think Ed's done a great job with him. He's kind of given him the keys to the car, and he's running it. But at the same time, his decision making is good. He's a scoring one, which makes him a handful because he's got the ball and he can really pass it, but he can also shoot it well. He's had a couple off games, and that's why his numbers are down a little bit. But there's been games when he's just absolutely lit it up. So he's going to be a handful, and he's got help.
Opened up now to questions from the media.
Fran, how would you compare Needham at this point to where Ronald Moore was?
He's a different kind of player.
Yeah.
He's taking 215 shots already.
Yeah.
Ronald Moore wasn't shooting the ball like that when he was a freshman. So he's a different kind of point guard, and they use him differently.
Is there somebody in this league, Fran, who you would compare Needham to, maybe over the past 4 or 5 years?
I'd have to think about that one, but I do think, Pete, clearly since in the 5 years I've been in the league, one of the best players, forget about position, to come into our league in that period of time.
When you're recruiting a kid, can you tell beforehand whether they'll be able to step in and handle the pressure as a freshman?
Usually, not all the time.
Fran, how many freshmen have come into the league had the kind of impact he's had since you've been here? Maybe he's having a better year than Machado last year.
Rarely, Steve, will you be able to, get 215 shots up. You don't. Even Hasbrook, you covered that team. He was phenomenal. But Kojo had the ball, and Scoop was our best player. Rarely does a guy come in and they just give him the ball, and he plays phenomenally well. He's very consistent. And gets that many shots up, and rarely is a freshman going to be the go-to guy. Down the stretch, he's the guy. I'm not saying that one of these other guys wouldn't get a shot up, but if you watch the close games that they've been in, Needham's the guy.
Usually, a guy scores that much is because he walked into a bad team. So,
yeah.
And he hasn't.
No, he's not walked into a bad team at all. And and they were a good team last year.
Yeah.
I think everybody wrote them off. They still finished 4th. They still got to the semifinals. I mean, they were. I think they were picked 3rd, came in 4th, and
with all the injuries.
And everybody was. He threw the first team all-league guy off the team, and the other guys all got hurt. So I think Ed's done a phenomenal job.
Fran, if you guys are able to win this game, you'll put a little distance between yourself and the rest of the league. Was that? I realize it's early, but you were able to do that last season.
With 11 games to go, it's I don't really look at that as distance. We'd be 2 games up with 11 games to go. That to me that's not distance. We got a lot of work to do yet.
Fran, talk a little bit about Edwin and how great he's played of late. At the beginning of the year, he was fighting off some of the injuries. Has it been more of a product that he's been a lot healthier lately, or what?
Well, that's really all. I mean, he's just healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing now is ahead when we thought we'd see. He wasn't healthy. He was trying. Fortunately, he was feeling good the day we played Northeastern. But other than that, I mean, anybody that saw the St. John's game, the Brown game, the Temple game, I mean, he was a far cry from what we know Nublis can be, and he just slowly crept. His numbers crept back up to where he's leading us in scoring now. So I'm not surprised. And I will say this: the thing that's been impressive to me is how hard he's worked to get to that point.
Obviously, Clarence had a huge second half against Canisius. How much would you like to see him now string a few of those together and maybe have 2 or 3 of those?
Well, I think he's certainly capable. I mean, we've seen a very consistent Clarence Jackson. He's had a couple off games, but pretty much night in and night out, he's been pretty good. I mean, he's shooting great percentages. He's not turning the ball over like he did when he was a freshman. He's taking care of the basketball. He's playing defense. We're not afraid to put him on really good players. We used to hide him a little bit defensively. Now okay, you got so and so, and he's been great. He keeps his feet apart and he sticks his nose on the glass. So he's becoming the kind of complete player that we always thought he could be.
Sometimes when you take him out, just reading his body language, it looks like he gets down on himself a little bit. Do you have to remind him of all those things that you just said? Do you try to pick him up a little bit?
Yeah, I always pump him up. Like the Niagara game, for example, was that's one I struggled with because I played Downey mostly in the second half. And, I told him, I said, sometimes it's not a reflection on you; it's a reflection on what he's doing. Downey was great in that game. And then Downey was going to play in the second half. He had 8 points and 2 threes in the first half. I got to tell Downey, he's like, look, I just won with Clarence. He was the guy. And to their credit, they go at each other in practice, but they have tremendous respect for one another and pull for one another legitimately. And if anything short of that, we wouldn't be as successful as we are.
And they bring 2 different things to the table. I mean, when Clarence was man last year, he brought instant offense. It seems like Kyle brings instant intensity.
Intensity. I mean, he's rock solid. But the Mount St. Mary's game, it didn't seem like we could make a shot. He committed to make 2 shots right away. So he sort of recognized that we needed instant offense that day. But in other days, he needs to come in, get some touches, load up Ubilis and Franklin, get a steal, get a rebound, and then whack a 3 for us or drive the ball to the basket. He's probably as good driving the ball as he is shooting it from the outside.
Brent, is this where Kyle is right now? Is it a reasonable amount of time for a guy who's used to being, the star of the high school basketball team to kind of take some time to get used to that 6-man position, kind of the same way Clarence did last year? Took a little time to really, work himself into that role. Is it kind of expected?
I don't know. I mean, I think he just looks at himself as a guy that deserves to be one of the key members of our team. I'm sure he would like to start, but it's fairly obvious who our 5 starters are, and he's going to keep working to get more minutes and stay ready if somebody does have an injury. He's to be able to step in there, and I have no problem starting him. When Eddie was late, we started Kyle. He deserves to start, and he's got an incredible workmanlike approach to everything. So start me. If you don't, if you play me 7 minutes, if you play me 37 minutes, he's pretty much going to do the same things.
How much more comfortable does Odie look out there, and how much comfortable are you playing him now? I mean, he's been playing a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable with playing him. I mean, I have been from day one. I should say that when his first game, he had the big mask on. He was fumbling the ball. He couldn't see. He was complaining. He couldn't see and he couldn't breathe. 2 things that are important playing basketball.
It's life.
So, I just said, hey man, you got to toughen up. You just got to get out there and do it. And he did the best he could for us. But when he got that thing off his face, he was really a completely different player. So I'm really, really proud of him and happy with his development. I think there's even a lot more there.